are never going to believe what happened to me when it comes to completing the full Super Nintendo set. I left off last time with 540 games out of the 721 or so that I need for the full set, and I stumbled upon one of the rarest items for the Super Nintendo. This right here was actually posted at a video game store, and when I saw this label, I wasn't too sure what this was, but when I went out there and picked this game up for a really great deal, like an amazing score, I actually posted some pictures online just to see what I had. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with this, this says on here, Video System Company, Sample, July 1993 Super Nintendo. And when this is actually opened up, you'll see some crazy stuff on the board. It feels so much heavier than a regular Super Nintendo game. So I knew that this was something way more, something spectacular to have in a video game collection. So, exactly what this is. This was created back in the day by Video System Company. And this is an internal development board for testing purposes. This has an EEPROM open set of sockets. The stickers are rewritable chips with the light sensitive gateways. Either a beta of the game or a final release that would have been sent out to different reviewers for either magazines to try and get some sort of nice review for this particular sports game. So this is definitely amazing. I have not compared it to the original, release of the game, Hyper V-Ball, which it does have like a little error on here, but having this label, this internal development board for testing purposes, this same company actually made Aero Fighters. They made the F1 games. This is just so crazy. Now, it's not even like the best volleyball game because, you have a little bit of a slowdown. You do set up the person on the different teams for serves or spikes. And you do have a robot league as well. So that's very interesting that you could have, international teams or like a robot. But this is actually really interesting to find because I stumbled into it and I had no idea what I was looking at. And then next up, I had such a blast at Korg's. This amazing Columbus, Ohio retro gaming, this whole convention that they have every year. For so many years now, they have been doing this. I scored these Super Nintendo games there. This one is really cool too. So we have Chester Cheetah Wild Wild Quest. Now, there are a couple of these mascot games on the Super Nintendo, but this is definitely the better one. So I would have to say that I enjoyed it so far anyway. Now, it does hold some nostalgia because we all wanted those like Cheetos back in the day. And I just remember this mascot. I remember all these like crazy antics, seeing this. And the game is very interesting. Now, it's not the best, but it's just crazy that he got 2 of them on the Super Nintendo. So you go around, you collect Cheetos. The graphics look amazing on this game. And you have like this like mascot platformer. So I just love the beach, this like level where you have these skateboarders. But there is just too much going on the screen. I definitely feel like the nostalgia blinders are on. And I just really like these like over-the-top reactions. Because I felt like they did a great job focusing in on that with the particular mascot, the character. But like I said, there really is a lot going on, and you just like die a bunch of times if you get hit once. You have to try and find Cheetos, collect them to help with your, health. But if not, you just kind of like deteriorate and die. So this is a very interesting title. Definitely one of the better ones. And if you're nostalgic for it, I recommend it, especially if you can get it on the cheaper end. It's not too terribly expensive. So hopefully you guys remember this one, and I want to know in the comments down below, do you remember this crazy antic game? Definitely reminds me of like the 90s and like the mask with those like over-the-top facial expressions. Just really crazy. So if you guys are enjoying this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below because you don't want to miss out as I'm going for the full Super Nintendo set and I'm scoring some crazy finds along the way. Next up, we have Demolition Man. This is another not too expensive game, and it is a movie title video game. but it's actually not that bad. Most of the time when you see these like crazy movie titles, you think of, you know, a terrible game, something that has like no substance at all, because that's usually how bad they are. But it's off of this action movie with, you know, a lot more going on with it. So one of those movie games, but it is a run and gun game. And you like start out where you're just like shooting, you're in this helicopter, jumping out, there is a zip line with shooting, bungee jumping. It's just so much going on. Very cool. I love the different top-down shooter parts. There are like 10 different levels, and it just seems like maybe this wouldn't be like a movie tie-in game because they did do a little bit more, and there's just so much action. And I just had a good time with it so far, so I'll definitely have to pick it up a little bit more and see if I could advance through. But so far, I'm really enjoying it for the price. You know, less than like 10 bucks. You cannot beat that. This is definitely a fun one and not another terrible movie title. And then on to this game. So I actually bought a few different fishing games on the Super Nintendo multiple times. So there are just so many on the system. So what makes this one different? This one's actually not that bad. You have Bassin's Black Bass. So this is another fishing title, but they did some different items, you know, different things in here. They have just a lot going on. So tons of fishing games, but they have different lures in the game. So you have these different specific kinds of fish that you need these lures for. So you really have to, you know, choose the right one depending on which area you're at, because there are different lakes. Some of them look really good as well. But you get this fishing guide when you start out. So the fish swim in different, you know, areas. You can kind of see that as you're going through. There is this whole timing aspect that you have to, you know, use as your different technique. And you can see the fish as you're going through. So I thought that that was very interesting. Definitely looks pretty good. And if you're into these type of games, I feel like this is probably one of the more cheaper titles, but one that you get a lot going on. And it kind of eases you into it instead of like not being able to see and just kind of not really knowing what you're doing and just going around. So this is probably one of the better titles that I have played. So I want to know, do you even play fishing games anymore, or do people, you know, just kind of move on from that? Then on to this game, we have a tennis game. So probably going to say this wrong, but of course everyone at this time had their own particular sports game. So we have Agassi tennis. Not sure if I said that right, but this is an inexpensive video game, and it's not that good. This is really not a good like hitting back and forth tennis game. There's just a lot going on with it that makes it, you know, not as fun. I like playing the Mario tennis games so much better. I like some of those games, even playing on the Virtual Boy. And as you're going through with all that red and you get a headache the longer that you play, I feel like that is way more enjoyable than this particular game. So I would definitely steer away from it. And I know that it can go for around $10 or a little bit more, but I would not pay that for this particular game. So this is one that I'll probably never play again. And I'm curious if there are any good tennis games on some of these older systems, or if mostly people tend to go towards the Mario games or like the extreme ones, as opposed to just regular tennis. So overall, at Korgs, I scored a few more off my list. Some of the games are getting more difficult to find, so I have to really hone in on Super Nintendo games at these video game conventions, trying to find some of the more uncommon games, whether they're expensive or not. It's just some of them are hard to find in really good shape. I'm trying not to get ones with like torn and ripped up labels as I'm going through. But I would have to say that the winner would be this game, even though it is Hyper V-Ball, or V-Vol as it says. Finding these like crazy sample copies, or these prototypes, or something that is just different than the regular retail release. Something that's a part of history that has so much more going on with it. This is definitely the winner of the week, and I want to know what you guys think. Would you guys play the Chest or Cheetah game, or any of these sports titles? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.